were in one of the Friday meetings. If you're not calling into the Friday meeting, you're really missing out. I saw her name, so I went. I'm like, is she on Facebook? I looked up, I'm like, well, she's fucking friends with my brother. I'm like, what's going on? So I sent him a text, and he's like, oh yeah, we served on the Lord's together. I'm like, well, damn. So it really is a small world. So, to be honest, I am a luxury travel advisor, and I emphasize the advisor piece because I'm not just booking a trip for you. I'm going to make sure that it is the best place for you to go and at the right time. If you're wanting to go to Cancun, for those that have been there, you know that there is a time when the seaweed gets real thick and it ends up on the beaches and ruins your vacation. I'm going to make sure that you're not going there at that time. If that's when you're going to have vacation, I'll recommend that you go somewhere else. Or I will find a different place in Mexico that doesn't have the seaweed problem. And so a little bit of background on why I started my agency. So in the Navy, they say see the world, and that's true unless you go on a submarine. And so the 4 years I was on the boat, I saw Scotland, France, Spain, and Italy. And it was only because we had Navy bases there. So it wasn't until I started working for Bechtel that I was able to see the world. I did some business trips for Bechtel and got to see some really great places, and it was nice because it was on their dime. I didn't really have to pay for anything. But the opportunity really opened up when I got to, I moved to Finland. Now, nobody thinks that, hey, Finland's going to be this fantastic place to live because it's cold. But for those that don't know, Finland has been rated, the people of Finland have been rated the happiest in the world for 8 years in a row. And I can tell you that that is true because my wife and I talked about it, and that's when we're going to retire. The pace of life is fantastic. Nobody's in a rush, but they're always on time. The people are friendly, but they're not just in your face friendly like we expect. And when they say happy, they'll tell you that they're not meaning that they are jovial happy like we think. They're happy that they are content with the life that they have. They understand work-life balance, which I think if you're a business owner, sometimes you forget that you have to have the life part of the balance. Because if you are just working and you're supposed to be working for yourself, if you're not enjoying life and you're just putting that money away, when you finally retire, you're really not going to be able to enjoy it. I'll get into that here in a minute. But I kind of forgot what I was saying, but so I lived in Finland, and while I was there, I got to see a lot of Europe, and Katrina and the kids came over, and we did what I called an appetizer of Europe. We didn't spend more than 2 nights there. We were there for 2 weeks, and I'm going to tell you, we were exhausted when we were done. But we found our favorite city to visit in Europe, and we've been back there since then. Our son turned 11 in Prague. We were able to go to Russia before they became crazy. And so he turned 8 there. He's lucky that his birthday is 4 days after Christmas. So he gets to celebrate Christmas somewhere, and then he gets to do his birthday as well. So when I moved back to the U.S., and I was in Finland during COVID, and I'm going to tell you what, they handled it a whole lot better than we did. And I came back to the U.S., and then I ended up in Saudi Arabia. And for those that don't know, Saudi Arabia is actually kind of badass. You can travel the Middle East like we travel the States. So I was able to go to Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, and I travel and I go to UNESCO sites. I remember when my father was alive, when he would go on vacation, he would choose his destination based on if there was a ship museum. And so mine is, all right, what are the UNESCO sites in this place? So visited a ton of UNESCO sites there, and I was able to do 8 weeks in Greece and the Balkans. So fast forward 4 months after I came home in 23, my father had a slip and fall and hit his head, craniotomy. Neurosurgeon says that he's greater than 50% chance he's not going to make it. So Trina and I would get in the car, we speed up to Tyler on the ice, and good Lord gave us 8 months. But during that time, my father stayed in the hospital and nursing facilities, and I needed something to take my mind off of it. And last April, actually, Monday will be 1 year that I've been a travel advisor. And did this for my mental health because it's something that I enjoy and I wanted to help other people see the world. It wasn't enough that I was just taking photos and putting them on Instagram and giving the story of what it was. I needed to be able to facilitate the travel because somebody can look at it and say, this is the, if I was to go to one place, this is the one I want to go to. I need to be able to make that happen. Nobody's going to be as lucky as me to be able to go to 38 countries and do it relatively cheaply. Katrina will tell you that I did not do it cheaply. So, but, and being a travel agent, in just 1 year, the commission and revenue that I've been able to put together is 9 times what your normal travel agent does in the first year. And a lot of that is due to the agency that I'm with and the knowledge that they impart on us when we go through our training. Because not only do I have 60 hours worth of training that I have to do, they gave me 11 scenarios that I had to plan the trip for, and then I had to role play one of those with one of the executives in the company to show that I could actually sell travel. And funny enough, the first thing that I sold was a cruise. Never been on a cruise, had absolutely no desire to go on an ocean cruise whatsoever. But 5 days after I became an agent, I sold 2 statements. So going along with that, it was a lady from our church, and a month later, I saw that they had dropped the price. So I called up the cruise line and said, hey, can you drop their fare down to this? And when I did that, they matched the fare, so they dropped each stateroom $200. And there was a promotion going on, so they got an extra $200 of onboard credit for each stateroom. So that's where I come in as an advisor, in that I'm taking care of all of that headache for you. You're not having to monitor these things to find out if you book too early or you're missing out on promotions. That's where your advisor comes in. And speaking of cruises, because that's what a lot of people want to do. We're close to Galveston, and for those that don't know, we are about to have an influx of new companies, new cruise lines coming in. You're going to have, everybody knows of Norwegian, but Norwegian actually has a premium cruise line called Oceania, and then also they have Regent, and they are going to be selling out of Galveston. So you will have 3 more cruise lines, including a luxury cruise line. So this is what I do. If you were to go shop for a cruise line on your own, you're going to see the price. You're going to come to me, and I'm going to see the exact same price. The reason is they already have my commission baked into what you're paying the cruise. So if you book yourself, you don't have the services of a travel agent or a travel advisor. So you've paid for something that you don't get. So that's why you should never book a cruise on your own. You might think that it's easier, but you're really missing out on something. Especially because we do carry, anybody that books with me on Royal, you automatically are going to get $50 on board commission. And then we have other deals, like right now with Royal, if anybody books a suite with me, you get specialty dining if it's over 6 nights and you book a balcony or higher. You're not going to get that if you book on your own. And you can think, well, hey, I got Expedia, I don't need to book a hotel through a travel advisor. That's not true. Let me tell you an example. So this December, one of my friends from high school reached out, and her and 6 families wanted to go to Tulum. So well, actually, I take that back. They wanted to go to an all-inclusive somewhere that was not the Dominican Republic or Mexico. So we go all the way around the Caribbean, all the way down to the ABCs, which is Barbados, Bermuda. What is it?
Aruba?
Yeah, Aruba, what's the...
Barbados?
Curacao, and what's the B? I don't know, I forget what the DMB is. Madeira, I think is what it is, right? So we get down there, and there's no all-inclusives that are worth a damn, okay? So they end up back in Mexico, and they're going to do Tulum. Well, if they had booked it themselves through Hilton, it would have cost them $7,000 more than what they paid booking through me. If they had booked through Expedia, which is where everybody goes, they would have paid $9,000 more than what they have done booking through me. And on top of that, if you call Expedia when something happens, you're not going to get any customer service. You're going to get a call center in India, nothing against India, but that's who you're going to get a hold of. When you book through me, you have my personal number, and you're talking to me. My brother went to Costa Rica. He and his wife landed in San Jose, and they could not find their transfer. It was a 2.5-hour drive to the resort. I pulled off the side of the road because I was on my way to Corpus Christi and started calling the car company to find out what was going on. The guy was there, they just couldn't find him. But that's what you get from me. You're not going to get that from Expedia. So this is what I want to be able to give to people as a travel advisor. I want to be able to help you see the world easier. You want to help plan the trip. You can be as involved or hands-on as you want to be. It's your trip. But all I'm saying is that when it comes to the hotels, trust what I'm giving you. I had a guy tonight. He wants to go to Puerto Rico, and he gave me a budget. I went and looked, and I said, "Hey, what about this hotel?" He said, "But that was pretty pricey." I said, well, "Guess what? I can get you in there with benefits for $300 than what was in your budget." And when I say benefits, it's daily breakfast for two, food and beverage credits, all these things, and what it comes up to is a $520 benefit that he wouldn't have gotten. Plus, he gets to now stay in a luxury property. This is what, so I'm doing the research, I know the properties, so you need to make sure you use an expert. We say that you don't go to Google and put in your symptoms to diagnose yourself, so don't go to Expedia to put in what you want to do to book your trip. So that's what I do with regard to travel. I'm going to segue here for a second. Oh, and for those that don't know, I do not charge any services. I don't charge any services for my fees. I get paid commission from my vendors, and we kind of believe that in that case, I don't need to stick my hand in your pocket and take out more money. If I don't charge you a fee, some of these booking agents will charge up to $1,000. If I don't charge you $1,000, you can upgrade from a deluxe room to a suite, or you can go from a balcony room to a suite on a cruise. So you get actually more out of coming through me with a no-fee agent. And if I was to charge you a fee, my agency would actually terminate my contract. So, like I said, I was going to segue. I am also, that's my night job, because that ain't going to pay the bills. My day job, I work for Bechtel. For those that don't know, it is the largest family-owned company in the world. We've been around for 127 years. Some of the things that we've done that you might have heard about, the Hoover Dam, Trans-Alaska Pipeline, and 1/3 of the LNG in the world is produced in plants that was built by Bechtel. So, like most companies today, we have, man, I need to grease that hinge. So, we have business resource groups, and one of the ones is for veterans, and we are actually starting to become very active compared to some of the other BRGs because there is the big push for diversity. Well, we've gone in and said there is no group more diverse that is more inclusive than the veteran community. And they're starting to believe that because now we have the other BRGs that are wanting to do stuff with us because they know that they belong with the veterans because they support what we do. They just needed to know that there was somebody else that was going to, as we say, have their six. Okay? And with that, I got into the chamber last year, talked about being a Bechtel, trying to find ways that we can work together. I went to Dallas a couple of weeks ago, did an event, Combined Arms was the beneficiary. I'm trying to find out what I can do with them because they help give resources to veterans that they don't know exist. We're helping out veteran-owned businesses. They're helping out veterans get resources. There are all these things out there. And I will tell you, and then I'll turn it over. When I called into the first call, I wasn't a member of the chamber yet. And I told Lou, I told John, when I got off that call, I was ready to run through a fucking wall. I was so excited to be back in the community again. And it really sank in when I did Wings Over Houston last year. And at the end of the day, we go to the flight line, and when nobody's around except for us, they still have the same military precision as their leader. And it was at that moment that I realized that there was a hole that I didn't know was there that was filled. My wife and kids have been the greatest thing that ever happened to me. But the brotherhood that I had being on submarines, when I left, I didn't know that there was something missing. But it wasn't until I started talking to Lou and John and Andre and those guys that I'm like, all right, I feel like I'm home. So Lou always says you get out what you put into it. And I'm a big believer. I try to volunteer as much as I can. I've almost got to the point where I'm damn near overextended. But when it comes to the chamber, you gotta put into it, because as you do, you will get stuff out. People are going to, as Lou says, hey, I got a guy. So I'm constantly running through my head, hey, who can I talk to? Who can I refer if somebody needs something? We have all these other networking groups, and if there's nobody in the chamber to handle it, because I am the only travel agent, by the way, travel advisor, so if you want to reference a VOB for travel, then I will be the person. But you're always looking for somebody that is a fit for the people that are in your inner circle. And that's what you're going to get with the chamber. But like I said, you've got to be involved. We need more people calling into these Friday calls, because it's damn near the same 10, 15 people. I mean, Lance is there every Friday without fail. So I'd like to see if we can, as Lou says, bring a friend. Bring somebody else into that call on Friday, because we all know somebody that can offer something to someone else. So.